Hello and welcome to Bauer News. Coming up on the programme tonight, we find out why Voi e-scooters have been facing a backlash from the blind community. Bristol lorry drivers return from Ukraine after a successful mission delivering aid supplies for Ukrainian refugees. And travelling around Bristol Harbour gets easier as the water taxi service resumes after a 2-year break. The controversial Voi scooters have been criticised by Bristol's blind community after the decision to extend their trial in the city was granted. Our reporter Caleb Shaw has been looking into it.
The e-scooter company Voi have just had their trial period extended to November, but that might all be about to change. The company is being challenged over its ties to Russia and Belarus, with Metro Mayor Dan Norris threatening to pull the plug unless ties are severed. But it's not just the Russian link that's causing people to question. Many think the scooters are unsafe. Speaking to Sarah Gayton, the campaign's coordinator at the National Federation of the Blind, she highlighted the safety issues of the scooters.
The way the city is actually designed, with lots of your pavements being able to share space with cyclists, it's not safe for pedestrians anyway, but to share it with e-scooters, motorised vehicles on that pavement, it was just a not safe environment. To be honest, it was frightening to have them behind you and in front of you. So, you know, we called right at the start, not for the trial to start. We wrote to the Wickham Mayor, we wrote to the Bristol Mayor, we wrote to all of the councils in Bristol to say, look, please do not extend this trial. And they've ignored that advice. A blind or visually impaired person, their sort of mobility is quite limited. So their space is the pavement. It's their safe space to walk and independently navigate towns and cities.
But what do the public think?
Pretty good thing. Look like they're good fun to ride. 99% of people seem to drive with due care and attention.
I think it should be compulsory that people have a driving licence, because you just have to have a provisional and then you don't know the rules of the road and it can be really dangerous.
Overall, I'm probably not in favour of continuing them, although they are like accessible and easy. I feel like the safety of them is still a bit of an issue.
We contacted Voi for a statement, but they haven't yet responded to our request. With people divided on the scooters, the future of the trials looks uncertain.
A Bristol lorry driver has returned from Ukraine after delivering aid support to people stuck in the war-torn country. Jack Holcob and 2 others from Bristol spent the weekend driving a heavily loaded van filled with donations for Ukrainian citizens. Jack and his friends spent the night in Poland before crossing the border into Ukraine. After hours of driving, they reached the outskirts of Lviv, a city in the west of Ukraine, meeting with a contact to drop off supplies. When returning to the Polish border, they were met with lengthy queues of fleeing refugees. Good news for those looking for an alternative way to travel. The Bristol ferry is back up and running, a regular service for the first time since the start of the pandemic. COVID restrictions shut down the popular water bus service and left it limited to private hire. Nathan Herod-Lake has been down by the harbour to find out what it means to the people of Bristol to have their ferry back.
I'm here outside the Nova Scotia, which is one of the many stops of Bristol's beloved ferry service that connects Temple Meads to Hotwells via city centre. The ferry has been a staple in the city since 1977. However, Bristolians haven't been able to use their favourite water-based mode of transport since the beginning of the pandemic. So, earlier today, I hopped on board one of the 5 boats of the fleet, the Independence, to experience the ferry for myself and find out more. The faint sound of a small engine in the distance is the first indication the ferry is near. Sitting on the Cascade steps, you can see the little yellow boat turn the corner and pull into the landing. With 17 possible landing stages, the ferry provides a scenic alternative to the buses and Voi scooters so commonly used during the pandemic. It can get you to a large variety of locations within the city along the harbour. Despite the service being open since the 70s, many people still haven't taken the opportunity to view Bristol from a different perspective.
I think it's just extra exciting having been indoors for the best part of 2 years. So it's just it feels all the more interesting. I think a bit of a sensory change once.
Yeah. Apart from being the only mode of transport in the city that doesn't have to deal with traffic, you can also learn about the various landmarks as you head to your destination. These include the crew on board are happy to tell you the history of Bristol, and having spoken one of the members, they are thrilled to be back on board.
So out of running order the whole of the pandemic basically. We came back in last season and we couldn't do the regular service because we had to do a full clean down every time people got off, so we were just doing 1 hour trips from the city centre and then clean everything down and then get the next lot on, do all the track and trace stuff. So there's no way you could do that on the regular service. So finally back. Yeah, because when you're doing the commentary you don't get to chat to the passengers, and that's one of the best bits because you meet all sorts of people and you get to play with kids, play with dogs, hear people's stories, get new dad jokes which are always welcome, and then people ask about the harbour, so you can still give commentary, but it feels like more of a personalised service.
So as the weather continues to improve, maybe consider hopping on one of those little yellow boats chugging along the water. The Bristol's ferry service is slowly building up momentum again, which means more patrons are likely to visit the smaller, out-of-the-way pubs, such as the Mardyke, Pump House and Nova Scotia. I'm here with Georgina, who works at the Nova Scotia. Georgina, have you ever used the ferry service here in Bristol?
I haven't, but I haven't been in Bristol for very long, so probably will do in the future.
And what does it mean for the pub having the ferry service back up and running, especially with summer around the corner?
Yeah, it's definitely going to bring in a lot more business because lots of parties come via boats to the pub, so it'll definitely be a good thing for them to do that.
And now that it is back on a regular service, do you think you'll use it to get to work every day?
Yeah, definitely, especially getting tired of using the bus all the time. I feel like that will probably be a good alternative coming from the city centre.
Thank you, Georgina. So as you can see, the ferry service is far from just being a tourist attraction. It connects the city via its beating heart of the harbour, and Bristolians couldn't be happier to have their ferry service back up and running.
Nathan Herod-Lake reporting. Armed police were spotted on the M5 earlier today, leading to the temporary closure of one lane northbound. Avon and Somerset police say they stopped one vehicle heading northbound on the motorway, just 2 miles east of Portishead. The incident was in relation to another police force, and a vehicle has been recovered for forensic analysis. The force has confirmed they've arrested 3 people in connection with the incident on behalf of Devon and Cornwall Police. The West of England Combined Authority is carrying out a review into the idea of a Bristol Underground, but a Green Party councillor has called for alternatives. The Mayor Marvin Rees is championing the Underground project as an alternative to bus travel, claiming it's his big vision for Bristol, but Green Party councillor Emma Edwards had other ideas. She's put a motion into the council saying only by comparing all options will Bristol be able to most wisely spend funding and deliver a world-class mass transit system in a timely manner. The issue is set to be debated at full council later today. The mental well-being of children is perhaps more important than ever, and South Bristol mum and author Ruth Drury has made it her mission to help children express their emotions during these tough times. Our reporter Taka Awad has more on the story.
As children become more exposed to the news, it becomes harder to protect them from becoming all-consumed by world events. From COVID-19 and the ongoing situation in Ukraine, this has caused many parents to wonder how best to address their children's anxieties about war and violence. South Bristol mom Ruth Drury started writing children's books in April 2020 when she noticed her own child struggling with her emotions near the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic.
So Too Many Pants was actually my first book, and it was written because my daughter herself was struggling with emotions. She was finding life very tough. I think when lockdown started and all of the children were suddenly at home, us as parents realised, oh my goodness, my children have a real emotional roller coaster every single day in school, and the teachers have been dealing with it, and I didn't realise. And obviously that's not going to work for the next 2 years while you're at home. So parents sort of really began having to understand how their children feel. And that you can't just, oh, cheer up, it'll be fine, because actually, you know, those little people have got really strong feelings that are really giving them a hard time. So by allowing the parents to have basic conversations about pants, it means that the children can understand.
And now let's look at our weather for today. Clear skies will continue into the night, but clouds will gradually begin to form and thicken through the second half. A few spots of rain can never be ruled out, and areas of mist and fog may form. Tomorrow morning will still be cloudy and dull with a few patches of rain. It will be largely dry and cloudy through the afternoon with any mist or fog clearing, but the odd spot of rain always remains possible. That's all from us for today. Thank you for watching and enjoy your evening.